Bullets. The market and the traders and everyone expects the Sydney Kings to hammer the Bullets. The line's significant. The margin will probably be significant as well. Let's have a look at a same-game multi. I'm going to take the Kings big win, 11 plus. They should do that easily. But a couple of Bullets players who need to fire to keep this close. Sobey over 18.5. He's been good most of the season, and Bain's the same. Enjoy the game and gamble responsibly.
You know the score. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
The Sydney Kings sit on top of the Hungry Jacks NBL ladder and have done for virtually the entire season. There's no question about that. They are the benchmark of the competition and have won their last 4 games by 10 or more. They take on a Brisbane Bullets team who have nothing but pride on the line after last Thursday's disaster. Can they bounce back and show more of what their crowd is looking for at home tonight? Good evening, great to have your company for Wednesday Night Hoops at the sold-out Nissan Arena as the Brisbane Bullets play host to the ladder-leading Sydney Kings. Jack Heverin in commentary alongside Pete Hooley and Ryan Brockhoff. Rowdy, great to see you. Pete, great to have you with us. And well, the Sydney Kings, they are on a real tear right now.
Yeah, they're firing on all cylinders offensively. We saw them a couple of games back. They shot 75% from 3. It's been a remarkable run offensively for them, and the pace that they play with, being able to generate easy buckets, makes them very difficult to guard.
Pete, you saw the Brisbane Bullets last Thursday in that game that we mentioned. As we take a look at their ladder positions, they went down by 26 against Cairns. Was it a backward step for them?
I think it was, just mentally and I guess emotionally, the way they went about it, because I thought they turned a corner. After Greg Vanderjet was announced he was going to finish the season as the head coach, I thought they had a renewed spark about them. They looked like they really wanted to finish the season on a right note, and that game was disappointing. I think they would agree the same thing. So here's a chance against the Kings, but in front of your home fans, to really put on a good show. Good luck stopping that man, though. That's the problem for not only Brisbane, but for most teams in the competition this year, including Perth. Last Saturday, Rowdy had 24 and 11, Xavier Cooks.
He's so dynamic, both on the offensive end and defensive end, being able to create shots for himself, shots for others, take a defensive board, push the break. He's multifaceted. He does such great work around the rim. He shoots at a high percentage. He's a tough guard.
And Halls, we shouldn't forget that Xavier Cooks was injured just before the Christmas break. It was expected with the ankle that he might miss multiple weeks. In the end, only missed 1 or 2. And as we're about to see with his numbers in recent times, has not been affected at all.
Oh, he seems to be getting better towards the business end of the season, which is scary considering his last 18 months. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the MVP conversation where a couple of people maybe dropped him down a rung or 2. Well, this guy is absolutely dominating right now.
And as are the Sydney Kings. They're top 3 in a lot of the key statistics here in the Hungry Jacks NBL, but they are blasting everyone off the court when it comes to shooting the ball, including that, what's that, 74%
As I
against the
said,
Phoenix?
we saw it firsthand, and once they got rolling, there was no stopping them.
It's frightening, some of those numbers that they're putting up. They are #1 in the competition by a very, very long way when it comes to field goal percentage. Pete, a little bit more on the Brisbane Bullets, in particular Aaron Baines and Nathan Sobey. They're 2 of the marquee names in this lineup, and they had just 4 points between them.
Yeah, I mean, it was disappointing, no doubt, when your 2 main guys are performing like that. But it was the whole starting group. Negative 115 on the plus-minus as a starting group. They only had 23 points total as a starting 5. Just didn't get it done, didn't show up enough in this one. But as we mentioned, here's another chance to try and bounce back. And if you're Nathan Sobey, this is what I thought we were going to get from him to end the season. He looked like he'd really started to spark this team once it's settled down off the floor. That 31, that 30 points, and in the last couple, looks like he's just taking his foot off the gas, but we know he can turn it on when he has to.
We're ready to rock and roll, so let's get courtside for the first time tonight. Former MVP of this competition, 3-time All-NBL first team. It's a very good evening to you, Derek Rucker.
Thank you, Jack. And well, it's another big crowd here, surprisingly, in Brisbane. Despite this team's lack of success, the fans keep showing up. And one thing we know, that this team plays exciting basketball, but tonight they're facing a Sydney Kings team that plays with the fastest pace in the world. And you know what that means? That means a lot of shots, and a lot of shots for DJ Vasiljevic, a man who ended the month of December in a terrible slump, guys. But I spoke to him yesterday before training, and he has assured me that his slump is over and he is ready to roll. So look for lots of threes from DJ tonight. This is going to be an exciting game. The Brisbane Bullets like to get up and down as well. If they can keep it within 15 guys, they can consider this a win. It's time for action.
Can't wait for it, Derek. Thank you very much as we take a look at the champion starting 5 for the Brisbane Bullets. And it's been pretty similar for a lot of the season, barring injury. And a big shout out tonight, Peter, Harry Froling, who plays game number 150.
Game 150. I tell you what, speaking of Harry Froling, we saw Jordan Hunter last week throw it over the backboard. Harry Froling did it on this venue a couple of years ago for the Bullets, so maybe they can both just replay that one tonight a bit later.
And Rowdy, the champion starting five for the Sydney Kings, well, it's been virtually unchanged for the entire season.
Yeah, having that consistency in their group been very beneficial for them. And look, they're strong top to bottom. They've got a great bench as well. It's going to be a real entertaining game tonight.
Now, three officials for tonight: Chris Reid, James Gregoire and Alex McEwen. Derek mentioned it, the continual support from the Brisbane Bullets fans, despite the win-loss record as it stands right now. Their last couple of games, they've had in excess of 4,000. It looks as if we've got something similar tonight, so you've got to love seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Look, there's packed house. Everyone's on their feet, ready for the game to begin. You love seeing that support.
The Bullets, unfortunately, have won just one of their last 9 games, and they take on the form team in the competition, who have won their last 4 by double figures. It's the first time since 2007 and 8 that they've done that. And in that season, they went 27-3. How's that for a start from Suarez?
It's a terrific start. It's a terrific play. I think if you're the Bullets and you come out and you're expecting the ball maybe to go to Vasiljevic in the first play, maybe they isolate Xavier Cooks, run a little curl action to pop Suarez into a nice 3-ball to open the score.
40% three-point shooter this season. And a very nice acquisition for the Kings. Sobey from the elbow, looking to try and set the tone early.
That's what you want to see. Obviously, a difficult game last game, but hopefully he gets going early and keeps this game entertaining.
Might have something to do. He's got a fresh cut, so he may have a fresh mindset, ready to attack this one.
Look good, feel good. Is that what we're going with? Oh. Look good, feel good, play good.
You can tell us. Is that how it works?
Don't look at my haircuts.
Maybe we can ask one of your fellow teammates who decided to go blonde and seem to be playing all right.
He's just good all the time. But if you go back through my history of haircuts, you would have a good laugh.
Nice knockdown from DJ Mitchell, and the Bullets scored off their last 2 trips down the floor. Nice start for them. Suarez happy to put the ball on the floor this time. Did everything but score.
That's the beauty of getting him that open 3-ball to start the game. You see Aaron Baines had to close out, respect that shot. I mean, he took him off the dribble. DJ Mitchell, another one there. Really unlucky not to be hitting the free throw line. Looked like a little bit of contact. Good start for the Bullets.
Perfect 3 of 3. Vasiljevic fouled by Tanner Krebs. A bit of that aggression that Derek Rucker spoke about.
He's crafty in the mid-range. He knows how to use his body, uses lots of fakes, gets defenders off their feet. But that one, you just got to keep your hands out.
There's the first bucket of the game for Brisbane from Nathan Sobey. And with DJ Mitchell, Pete, we've seen flashes of him this season, including the 20-point game that he had against the Kings in round 3. Where he went 7 of 10 in that game and had 10 rebounds.
Well, he's been terrific shooting the lights out from outside. When his feet are set, that thing's going down, and he's had to adjust a little bit. He seems he's been in the doghouse a couple of times throughout the season, coming off the bench. But again, he's a really bright prospect of what he can bring. We've seen him get out on the break, get upstairs as well. So this is a really good aggressive start from all the Bullets so far, but especially DJ Mitchell and Nathan Sobey.
Jason Cadee up top. Works off the Baines screen and drives to the basket. Can't finish off. Here's the pace of the Sydney Kings. Simon explodes up the other end and scores.
They're just so hard to guard, as we mentioned off the top, because a lot of the time when Xavier Cooks also goes down to play the centre position, the 5 spot, you've got 1 through 5 who can grab it off the rim and push the break, and everybody fills their spots. You saw that last one was Justin Simon. That's a nice pass there. Justin Simon was pushing the break. DJ Vasiljevic was ready to spot up in the corner. You've got Xavier Cooks trailing the play. You got to pick your poison. Which one are you going to try and stop? They're going to make the right read.
Yeah, most of the time they do, but their attack on the rim is as good as anyone in the league. Getting to the free throw line, getting easy layups. No wonder they shoot the highest field goal percentage in the league.
It's Justin Simon, same thing again.
They continue to attack downhill. It puts so much pressure on your defense, and they continually attack. It's a really fun way to watch, game style to watch.
Probably not as much fun guarding it, I'd imagine.
No.
Baines bangs his way inside and scores.
Good second effort, but I like that he just put his body right underneath the hoop. There's no one who can get around him. There's no one strong enough to move him. When he gets that deep, it's game over.
Just 2 points and 5 rebounds last Thursday, as we highlighted.
Oh, fancy footwork.
Suarez on the attack. Scores and one.
He started to get a little bit more active in the last few games, Suarez, and it's a positive sign for the Sydney Kings, who are already one of the deepest teams in the competition. But have a look at this. Justin Simon just enjoying himself out there, and Suarez just catch Aaron Baines out of position.
Here we go.
Missed the chance. A 3-point play. And we saw that first one from DJ Vasiljevic where he attacked, and you mentioned him in the mid-range. I think that, it's no surprise that's where he's come out of that so-called slump, is he's not relying on a three first in the game. He's trying to either get to the free throw line or get a layup or see the ball go through the net, either at a free throw line or something mid-range. Then he starts to really open up the floodgates.
Let's get courtside to Derek Rucker.
Well, Brokoff, you see how many possessions we're getting in here? 12 points already. As Sobey finishes at the rim. Look, this is a very, very high-paced game, but I'm not sure this is sustainable for the Bullets. The Kings are just going to keep bringing people off the bench, and I'm curious to see what you guys think.
Well, I think they've got to start this way for the sake of that emotion side of it. That if you want to match it with the Kings, if they've started like this, they've got no other choice. You've got to continue to keep your foot on the gas. If you take a slow period for 60 seconds, this game can blow out against the Kings.
And it's a great way to keep the fans involved. Get the scoring up, bring the excitement, get some of that energy from the fans. And sold out arena, that's the best way to use it.
Derek Walton Jr., plenty of space to fire.
We've already seen that a couple of times. If you're going to run that full court pressure to try and slow down the Kings, you've got to be prepared to really run back and find a man, because it doesn't matter how many passes it takes to get over the half-court line. They are still going to play super fast once they get to attack in the half-court.
Sobey turns the corner with the left hand. Nice finish. And they lock it away at 12.
And Sydney straight back on the attack. There's no slow inbound. It's let's go. Let's get on the rim. Let's create mismatches. And let's pick up the tempo.
Opening quarter at Nissan Arena in Brisbane. The Bullets looking to bounce back. And Cooks came up with it. And there's an easy two for Walton Jr.
I've been saying it all dunkuary. For the little fellas, if they're going to slap the backboard on a break, it should count. Derek Walton Jr. is not going to get up and flush it or go through the legs. I know he can. But that was a solid backboard tap. That should be 500.
Well, there's Tyler Johnson checking in for the first time. The only shining light for them last week. Had 32 points on 12 of 20 from the field, which that 32 points was his equal high in the NBA as well. So it was great to see him catch fire.
Yeah, he really stood up during that game. You know, gave him a positive sign going into the next one. Now we've just got to get everyone else involved.
So do you look to run through him early?
I think Sobey started off really well, and you go to Baines down low whenever possible, but he's as good an option as anybody.
It's caught a Brisbane foot. Sydney will retain possession, 17 on the shot clock. He's the coach for the remainder of this season, the interim coach, Greg Vanderjack.
A fresh trim as well, done the beard. Oh, it's a new look, Bullets.
It is a bit of a trim to the beard, isn't it? Should take some advice, Pete. He's looking a little out of control right now.
And Brisbane's jumped into a zone as we have a bit of a laugh. Just trying to mix up the game, try and slow down, keep them out of the paint, force them into outside jumpers, and one possession, one stop. They'll be happy with that.
It's about the sneakers on Chase Buford too, just quietly. Fresh on the side.
Brisbane 6 of 10 to start the game from the field. The Kings not to be outdone, a 5 from 10. Cadiz, 7 on the clock. Fires away from long range. Sydney will be happy with that possession defensively. Walton Jr. on the move. This ball falls back out to the Kings, but they're relentless. They keep the ball moving, and it results in a Kawatnoi 3.
It's unbelievable, the pace of play, but you saw if you don't pick up the ball, no one picked up Derek Walton Jr. He got downhill, looks like he caught a bit of a flat tire on that layup, and then they get the offensive rebound. Kawatnoi coming off the bench, and Angus Glover. They don't need to wait any time to try and get one up.
They had 44 points, I should say, off the bench last weekend against Perth. Mitchell's long. And they're plus 68 in bench points in their last 5 games, Sydney. The depth is on full show. time for Justin Simon. Kadee, good look for Johnson in the corner. And that misses out, and the Kings charge forward. Noy.
Back to back. Ooh.
Tip-in doesn't go for Suarez.
But that's Kings basketball. Push it up, find the open shot. Even though it's early in the offensive play, you take it.
That one, quite annoying. His feet set, ready to tee off, and he's coming in with super confidence on the Amy replay.
12 points on 5 of 7 last Saturday against the Wildcats. 6 rebounds as well. I think it's just good to see a fit, healthy Kawhi Noyes. Had a lot of injury issues in the last 2 seasons. He's playing some good basketball for the Kings. The Bullets trail by 5. Johnson gets in deep and draws a foul.
Does that really well, Tyler Johnson. And talking about him as being that offensive weapon off the bench, but so crafty when he gets in that deep. He uses his physicality really smart. He's always well balanced and often finishes those with a three-point play opportunity.
Averaging 15.5 points a game. Tyler Johnson. Shooting clip's nice too. 50, 35, 75.
Oh, Harrison's got a nice little fade as well. This must have been a team bonding sesh. What are you at the barber?
Are you on Fashion Watch tonight?
Oh, I just noticed all the nice fades. Could be a barber. A Bullets barber sesh.
Barbers and shoes and you're on it tonight. But they're back in the zone. They're going to try and slow them down. Force contested outside shots and try and rebound. That's the hardest part in the zone, is the offensive rebound from Sydney.
Johnson for 3. That looks not a bad one either.
Well, they really are trying to match the pace of play. And
is that a trap to do that?
Well, we mentioned, as Ruck asked the question around and kind of touched on it, it can be because you're playing right into the hands of the Kings. If you're going to take a quick shot and it's going to be a long rebound, they're going to get out and run. You've got to be prepared to get back defensively in the transition. But the other side of it is, if you try and slow things down, we've seen in the past with the Bullets, it kind of takes them out of any sort of spark, any sort of rhythm, and they can be really flat for the rest of the game. So I don't mind it. They've just got to sustain it every player that comes in.
Late clock, which is rare for Sydney. That's the last touch by Kawhi Noyes. We see Gorjok Gak checking in.
Yeah, Brisbane zone's really slowed them down. They haven't been able to get deep penetration. They're sort of helping off lesser shooters, and obviously with DJ not in the game, being a knockdown, can't leave option, they've been able to find some success and get some stops.
Kadee, 5 on the shot clock. Good pass inside was good for Gak.
Just love Gak's energy. It's been one of the bright spot this season for the Bullets, and always gives 110%, but just gets himself in the perfect position as I say that, nearly got himself in a horrendous position with Xavier Cooks on the runway. Oh, goodness gracious. Not a place you want to be when you see that man on the runway.
A couple of people have had to learn this the hard way this year.
Oh, boy. He's never going to get in front to take a charge, and then I think he realised, out of all the athletes I want to contest at the rim, might leave Xavier Cooks for another week.
First field goal of the game. And makes the extra, just to give you some sort of indication of Xavier Cook. Top 10 in the competition for points per game, free throw attempts, rebounds, and has the best plus-minus in the competition at 8.3. One of the leading candidates, in many eyes, the MVP for this season. There's a little freebie for Jason Kadee.
Fortunate one. Great attack on the rim, just stuck around. Some little guys pick up some cheap ones like that.
Brisbane are back within 2. Kings have just started to get on a bit of a roll, but the Bullets not giving them everything they want. Vasiljevic step back, rattles out.
Again, that was a good box out from Gak, allowed Harrison to clean up that rebound, not give a second opportunity.
And with Brisbane running the zone, they brought DJ back in the game. They're going to try and force Brisbane to get back out of the zone so they can get spread and start attacking down the lane.
Galloway downhill, off the glass.
Another one who's been a real bright spark this season. He just continued to get better, playing well enough to earn these minutes in this rotation now. And now we're getting used to seeing Galloway play and deliver for the Sydney Kings every single game.
Last minute of the opening quarter. Hunter blows that play up, knocks it out of bounds. Gorjok Gak, Andrew White the third, Jason Kadee, Tyler Johnson, Terrell Harrison out there for the Bullets. Hunter, Vasiljevic, Galloway, Bruce and Cooks for the Kings.
Fast-paced game, as we mentioned. Only one turnover so far in this first quarter.
Just as I say that, Nathan Sobey checks back in and lands one from deep.
Nathan Sobey has had a bit of a struggle the last two games. I'm not sure about going underneath those screens when we see what kind of mindset he's in already. Had 6 points before this time. We see Sean Bruce and just sliding under. That screen is way too deep from Tyrell Harrison. You've got to fight over. You see where that screen is. Both feet are inside the three-point line. That's not good for a man who's coming out in attack mode.
No, especially not with Sobey. He's a confidence player. Seen a couple go in early, and he's looking for that shot. That's just going to propel him to a big night.
Vasiljevic for Jordan Hunter. He went and got it, and then he stuffed it.
I think that's come off a tip as well. I don't think that was...
He might have got fouled on that as well. That was an incredible play.
I don't know if he actually meant to throw the lob, but that might have got lucky, but what a read.
That is going to be worth another look as the Bullets try and finish off the quarter. Sobey, feet set. Not that time. Bruce can launch from halfway. The Kings lead it by 3 after 1 at Nissan Arena. 24-21. Check this one out from Jordan Hunter. Yes, please.
What a pass.
That is a hell of a finish. We're rolling on Wednesday Night Hoops. It's quarter time at Nissan Arena in Brisbane. Look at that picturesque summer night in Queensland, and they would be happy with what they've seen from the home team. They trail by 3, the Brisbane Bullets, but they're in the game early. Ryan Brockhoff and Pete Horde.
No, they've been great, and again, just look like they've got that pep to their step, and this man in particular, and I love that they're trying to go straight to him to start the second quarter. But he is their energy guy. He's the guy that he sets a tone and everybody else has to follow along.
The game's leading scorer, Nathan Sobey, with 9 points. 4 of 6 from the field. Oh my. How do you stop that?
Well, we've been trying to figure it out all season, so I'm not sure.
Well, you just see how deep Gak had to try and meet him, but that was because it looked like Vasiljevic had that little bit of a brush screen across the face of Gak to kind of put him in two minds of whether to take that step towards Cooks or try and catch him on the drive. You give him too much space, you allow him to pick up that momentum, and then you no chance of stopping him at all.
Vasiljevic wide open, got it.
Quick timeout, I like it from Vanderjet. That offense possession wasn't what they wanted, and then the Kings doing what the Kings do best, getting out in transition. And if you don't slow down the ball, you don't pick a man. Everyone's trying to run back to the to the basket, which is fair enough, but that guy can shoot a little. Make sure you find him on the three-point line.
You'd think so. I think he'd be #1 on the scout. Don't lose him in transition.
8-point lead for the Kings and an early timeout, as Pete said, from the Brisbane Bullets. Before the game started tonight, Derek Rucker caught up with Justin Simon.
Justin, you've established yourself as one of the best defensive players in the league. When did you realize you were going to be an elite defender?
Man, I don't know. I just think that's just something that came a part of the game. I've always took pride in it. Defending at a high level, just not letting my man score and, you know, creating extra possessions for my team and getting after it. I just like doing things like that.
From college through your pro career, you've been named Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. The next stage of development, though, must be on the offensive end. How are you addressing your offensive game?
Man, just I'm still going about it, just working on my game, staying confident, doing whatever the team needs me to do. I've always been that type of guy. I've always been selfless. So on this team, you know, I'm help support, you know, guys like Xavier, DJ, Derek, you know, Tim, you know, all the guys goes on. But still just doing my thing, whatever I can to help the team win, man. That's my thing. That's always been me.
I think every team would love a Justin Simon, wouldn't they?
Yeah, the way he plays the game, it's the right way. Defense first, does what it needs to for the team, whether that's getting out in transition and scoring, offensive rebounds, deflections. He's the real barometer for them defensively.
Defensive Player of the Year 2 seasons ago in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Last year played in Germany's Bundesliga and won the Defensive Player of the Year there as well.
Oh, my goodness. That's not even an advantage in transition. The Bullets actually had the numbers, and yet they still get a three-point play opportunity because Xavier Cooks, out of all players on the Sydney Kings roster, you need to slow down in transition. Who has the ball, bringing the ball up? It's this man right here. You need to throw multiple bodies in front of him, because if you don't, he's just going to do that.
He's so dynamic downhill. You've got to try and slow him up early around half court. He doesn't obviously shoot the ball as well as he gets onto the rim, but you've got to take away some of that speed, take away some of the momentum where he can't get downhill, change direction, and use his athleticism to score over you.
And that's what Coach Chase Buford addressed in the quarter-time huddle. He said, guys, stop settling for jump shots. Let's attack the rim. They can't guard us in one-on-one matchups out of the zone or in man-to-man. And you've seen Xavier Cooks go the hole twice now and forsake the three-point look.
Derek Rucker courtside. Tyler Johnson helps himself. His first field goal of the game.
They needed that just to settle down after the break. Sydney have come out hot, got on the rim, hit a three. Oh, it was almost another one. Bainesy would have stood him up, but still, it's a lot of attack downhill. They need to find a way to keep guys in front of them.
It's interesting just hearing what Derek said at the quarter-time huddle, because since then, every single play has gone through Xavier Cooks.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? He's a tough matchup, and him in transition, so dynamic.
We haven't seen a lot of this in recent weeks, but gee, it looked good.
Well, he won against Perth, and he's not going to take a whole lot of them. But if you completely disrespect him, he'll take a couple just to test where he's at. He's actually been shooting the ball. That's going to be an offensive foul on DJ Mitchell. He's been shooting the ball a lot better, especially from the free throw line. He shot, I think, 7 of 8 against the Wildcats, and already started this one 2 of 2. Again, it's a lot of it for him will be from the shoulders up. But look at this. Absolutely no one near him. Tyler Johnson thought about it and went late.
And Ryan, you're one of the great shooters in Australian history. As Cooks again gets in the paint and feeds Hunter, things are getting ugly, and this is where Brisbane usually falls apart. But back to my point, I watched Xavier Cooks shoot yesterday from deep in the Kings training, and he has a nice stroke and a nice rhythm. The only thing he said to me that he struggles with is the transition from practice to game. So it's only a mindset thing. It isn't a physical thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're shooting the ball. It's all about confidence. And if you're not confident enough to transition it into the games. It's hard to be consistent, but with Cooks, he's so good at getting to the hoop. Who cares about shooting threes? This has come from a three-point shooter. If I could do that too and get on the rim, I would be doing that as well. But it'll come. Look, it's part of his game. He's still young and developing that, but he's got so many great tools that once he gets that three-point shot, he's confident in game.
I mean, just have a look at that. How often do you see a guard, so it was Justin Simon gets the inbounds and just throws it straight back to the power forward, says, get us set up in the offense, which to Xavier Cooks means see what you can get. You've been having a field day the last couple of minutes. Try and get downhill and make something happen. Well, not a whole lot in that, though, from Tanner Krebs. But there's a smile. And, of course, we've just been hyping up Xavier Cooks shooting the ball really well from the free throw line, so I'll apologise on behalf of Cooks here for what's about to happen.
You talking about cheeseburgers?
Exactly.
Are you calling it early?
I was really hoping he wouldn't go to the line soon after I highlighted how well he's been shooting it from the line.
It was bound to happen.
And because I did that, I knew what was coming here. So I apologise, Cooks, but you're welcome, Queensland.
You may get a text after the game. Oh, he's going to knock it off.
Oh, hello.
That's
knock
shattering.
It off, DJ.
I think Mitchell's athletic enough to do that, but thank you very much.
That's shattering for Queensland Hoops fans. No burgers yet. But this is out to a 15-point deficit.
In the blink of an eye.
14 points to 3 in this second quarter. Baines and Hunter continue to go at it off the ball.
Yeah, poor Hunter. But Brisbane have just got stagnant. They're just staying on one side of the court. Their offense is not moving. They're not getting changes of sides. They're not moving the defense and making themselves easy to guard.
And we keep talking about the way they're struggling to defend Sydney in transition, as the majority of the league has been so far, and especially as of late. The one way that can really help is you've got to score the ball yourself. Well, there's going to be another foul before the ball's inbounded. By you scoring and letting them have to take the ball out to inbound, it should give you time to set up your defense. Now, having said that, Sydney will still push it down your throat and really play fast, but that gives you more opportunity to try and get set up behind the ball rather than a long miss or a poor shot. It's Kuat Noi sending DJ Mitchell's shot, and here go the Kings.
Here's Hunter. This is the layup. That block from Kuat Noi was nasty. 38-23 at Nissan Arena. DJ Mitchell's fouled by Kuat Noi. Foul on the floor. This is the period, Pete, you saw last Thursday, the 14 minutes in and around halftime, so before and after, they were outscored 52-25, the Brisbane Bullets. It was around this period last Thursday where things started to unravel.
Well, yeah, as we've seen, that they've taken some poor shots and shot selection outside really that first play of the second quarter where Nathan Sobey got a good look at the three. And if you take those poor shots, then that's going to be an offensive foul on Aaron Baines and Derek Walton Jr. What's that one in the face? And Jordan Hunter, probably rightly just saying, the ball plays. Let's not have a few words to say back to Banger.
Well, he knows it's him that's got to be the one who's got to go over and protect his teammates. So just, I know you got a little claret coming out of the mouth, but not the right guy. But you can't see it from that angle, but he must just.
Well, he got him with the shoulder
him, yeah,
as he was rolling. As he was rolling.
Baines will have to sit down with 3 fouls.
Yeah, he's going to have to go off with blood on the jersey and in the mouth.
Well, I think I'm going to look at it here. So it's little tries to go underneath that, and I'm not sure. I think Baines definitely moved into him. I don't think he meant to clean up his head, but he definitely moved in his way. He knew he wanted to get a little bit of a bump. I don't think he was trying to hit his head whatsoever, but when you have that height differential and those shoulders.
Exactly, I was about to say, Rudy, as wide as a door.
Terrell Harrison back in.
Great defensive effort there by Krebs.
Blocks the shot of Isaac Katorna, who checks into the game. And Sobey scores.
The double figures now, 11 points for Sobey.
And again, the Kings get the ball up the other end of the floor quickly.
Oh.
That one jumps out from Jordan Hunter.
We see everyone just shoots the ball with confidence. They know the way that they want to play. Every shot's a good shot if it's open.
There's 2 for Harrison. Is that because they've got the licence to do that, Rowdy? They know they won't be pulled up for taking that shot?
I would assume so. I'd assume that would be a directive from the coach that this is a shot that you can take and make and you work on in practice. When it comes to the game, if you're open, shoot it. Shoot it with confidence. Don't hesitate. The worst thing you can do when you're shooting the ball is hesitate. So it's all about shooting the ball in their rhythm and their style of play, and it's usually get it up quickly.
So the Bullets have scored off their last 2 possessions. Chase Buford just wanting to have a chat about things with 5.5 minutes remaining before half-time. It's been great to see all of the teams start to release their heritage strip, and the Bullets have gone right the way back to 1979. This is what Brisbane were wearing in their very first season, and every single player that's taken the floor for the Bullets will have their name on that jersey for Heritage Round.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. That's a nice looking jersey as well. I'll tell you what, aren't they all? You mentioned they were all released. My goodness.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Which one did you like the most?
You can absolutely do that because you put me on the spot. I'll put myself right on the fence.
There is no one watching this game who wanted to hear you sit on the fence.
I'll tell you, I grew up watching the Adelaide 36ers.
Yep.
So that's going to be a little spot for me.
Rowdy, you like what you'll be wearing in Heritage Round for the Phoenix?
Yeah, absolutely. The Phoenix one's phenomenal as well. So, look, I think all teams have done a really good job getting behind this and coming up with some classics. So it's great to see them being rolled out.
I thought Illawarra's was cool too, the blue strip that they wore in 1979. You don't ever associate Illawarra or the Wollongong area with blue.
We can go through every single team in the league and say how amazing they look. By the way, we just keep setting really high bars for jerseys, by the way.
I think the Devils are the number one for me.
How have we forgot that?
That is just awesome. 11-point lead to the Kings. Heritage Round coming up in a couple of weeks. Harrison, nice pass inside. Krebs was blocked by Suarez. Glover threw it up there for the big man. Ball's moving for Sydney. No one standing still. Results in a Simon bucket.
That is going to be clipped up for Chase Buford. He's going to continue to show the team that is continuous player movement off the ball, but the ball just flying through hands, and no one was standing still. And in the end, you get a wide open layup because of that.
And it wasn't even out of the set. It was loose ball. It was a little scrappy, but everyone kept moving. Everyone understands where someone else is going to be. And oh my gosh, their ball movement is just incredible. The way they share and have fun playing together. And another fast break point.
And this is their bench unit, or most of their bench unit, doing the damage. Now the number one team in the competition for a reason, and they're 7-2 away this year as well. I think if you can bank that many away wins, Rowdy, you're going to be finishing in the top bracket.
Oh, you'd be very happy. I think they went on like 14 games or something. They went on the road. It's an incredible streak that they're on.
Isaac Katona will be a charge.
Tanner Krebs has had good little activity here. Here is the Amy replay. Suarez with the block. On the other end. Look at this ball movement. Everybody continuously moving. Angus Glover doesn't settle for contested three. Makes the extra pass. Justin Simon doesn't try and force anything against the trees, and then straight back at you. Off the wrong foot, if you don't mind.
I think he likes jumping off the right.
He does, actually.
Yeah.
You're right.
10 assists on 16 made field goals for the Kings. And they're playing as a well-oiled unit. And Krebs with 4 on the shot clock. Beautiful pass for Harrison.
Krebs has been good. Look, he's bringing energy. He's doing things defensively, offensively, cutting at the right times. He can hold his head up.
And that there from Suarez, that's where Suarez just has to be a little smarter. So you've got Tanner Krebs taking Xavier Cooks off the dribble as well, and Junior knocks that down. If Tanner Krebs is going to hit a running lefty hook over Xavier Cooks' length and athleticism, you live with it. He came across to help, and in the end left Harrison wide open for the dunk. You've got to trust one of your best two-way players to make a play on that.
Harrison for 2 more. He's having an impact.
I think he just put his hand up for a sub too. So, what a way to go out. Get a dunk, get yourself a sub.
Still making his way back from injury. Suarez with his second triple.
Well, that's Suarez probably realising that the big fella Harrison was gassed and needing a substitution. So just floating around the 3, not expecting him to close out hard. But I do love his activity. If anything out of the rest of this season, you talk about trying to get others more minutes, so even some youngsters. But Harrison can really try and get that game fitness back after missing a whole lot of time. We see how deep he is there, and Suarez probably knew he wasn't going to close out in time and knocked down his second 3 of the game.
It's game high 16-point lead right now for the Sydney Kings, and Reebok is giving you the chance to win the trip of a lifetime to the US for you and a mate. It doesn't have to be a mate, it can be a girlfriend or a brother or a sister, whoever. You can meet Shaquille O'Neal, flights, accommodation and spending money included. To enter, scan the QR code that's on your screen right now. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, go to shaq.nbl.com.au. Who would you take, Pete?
Oh, I'm just more fascinated. You think there's a few anti-QR codes out there? Just want to go the old-fashioned. The QR code's a fantastic addition. Oh, it's easy.
Not everyone knows how to use QR codes. Like Daisy's still got a 3210, so they don't accept QR codes.
My grandma still has a Nokia 3315. I don't know if you can use that. She's not bad at Snake, though. Who would I take? Managed to meet Shaq. You were at the Players Association Awards, and Shaq rolled in and had...
that was reserve Shaq. I'd love to see DJ Diesel.
That was reserve Shaq as well. He's got some incredible stories.
One of a number of great competitions we've got up for grabs this season. Ryan Brockhoff and Pete Hooley in commentary. Derek Rucker courtside. Wednesday night hoops from Nissan Arena in Brisbane. And Sydney have really stamped their authority in this game in quarter number 2.
Well, it's a bit of a shift in a rotation here. I don't mind it. Tanner Krebs is basically playing the power forward spot. I know Andrew White is out there, but Tanner Krebs has drawn the matchup with Xavier Cooks. Again, no one can really guard Xavier Cooks one-on-one, but it's a different look. At least you're going to have that energy from him.
Two minutes and 19 before halftime. Tomorrow on the Hungry Jacks NBL, a double-header. And a fascinating one to start with. The New Zealand Breakers take on Melbourne. In the early game, it is a New Zealand game, of course, so for Australian viewers, check your local guides. Breakers coming off a loss to the Perth Wildcats, and Melbourne United maybe just starting to get something built.
They are going to be without Isaac Humphries. That is a key out. I mean, Marcus Lee's been terrific, but against the likes of Joe Parton and Jarrell Brantley, that's where it's really going to hurt not having Isaac Humphries' presence. But I'll tell you what, that's what makes this game against the Bullets huge for the Kings as well. And just creating that buffer, locking in a top 2, avoiding the playing game altogether, playing tournament. And it's also going to make the race for that second spot between New Zealand and Cairns potentially have a game on Sunday is going to be, that's going to be worth wanting a seat in front of a television for.
And then the second game, Tasmania versus Adelaide tomorrow night, Rowdy. Two teams who are going to be around that mark for 5th and 6th spot.
Yeah, it's such a tight race now. All these games are becoming so important. It's going to be a cracker of a double-header tomorrow.
Tyler Johnson steps out of bounds.
Maybe shot clock?
No, shot clock issue. Apologies.
Shot clock.
I think there was an issue there with the clock. I'm going to have another look. Point ball game. Sydney really have 50 points with 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. They averaged 113 points across last round. 118 points against.
Thanks, mate. You just turned to me.
I
knew it was coming.
I didn't say it. I was actually going to motion that I'm not going to say who it was against. And followed up with 108 points.
In the 2 games they've played against Brisbane, round 2 and 3, they've scored 100 and 102. Will be on Jason Kadee. And free throws to come for the Kings. The Bullets are over the limit.
I hear. I absolutely hear you, but that's the first action, okay?
Well, that mismatch happens because of that ability to push the ball quickly. And everybody's just trying to find the closest man to them after someone's put their hand up to slow down the ball. You're going to have mismatches. Suarez just put his big body on Jason Kadee underneath the hoop, and Kadee trying to be physical. Did it illegally, and they're in the bonus, so Suarez goes to the stripe. He's already in double figures with 12 points. Equal game-leading scorer.
is now 18. They've cracked a ton once again. Another half ton, I should say, Sydney, before half-time. The Bullets have got to try and find a way to stop this flow that Sydney have got going. That'll help their cause. Two to Tyler Johnson. He's got 6 points. Brisbane's leading scorer, Nathan Sobey, with 11. Tim Suarez, the leading scorer in the game, with 13. Make that 15 with one to come.
I think with all the talk and what we've seen of them in transition and Xavier Cooks and what DJ Vasiljevic, the tear that he's been on, I'm not saying we've forgotten about Derek Walton Jr., but just his elite court vision, to have him running the point when teams do happen to slow them down and have to get through a half-court set. It's hard to find a weakness on the offensive end.
What do you do in this situation when you're Brisbane? Half-time's approaching.
You've seen it through the NBL. The comebacks that have happened during the games, they can happen very quickly, and they've got scorers who can get going and help bridge this gap, but they've got to know that it's got to be a slow chip away, slowly cut into this lead, try and get it back, you know, to about 15, maybe by half-time, 8 by three-quarter time, and put themselves in with a chance.
Well, we spoke about, is it sustainable, their pace of play to try and match the Kings? I mean, clearly it hasn't been in the second quarter as Tyler Johnson gets fouled to go to the line. The teams that have given Sydney a bit of trouble, the Taipans won 2 games. They're a team that can sustain that pace of play. They like to play really fast themselves, and they had a little bit of success against the Kings. And I mean, the Breakers on the other side, they really slow it down in terms of being ultra physical and really strong on the defensive end and try and really limit them in transition. As Chase Buford is going to have a look at this. He's going to challenge the foul on Galloway. So it's a big challenge when from that angle that Chase was looking at, but I think he's putting the trust in the young fella, Jalen Galloway.
That's his one chance. He better get this one right, or coach.
As a rookie.
No more. From the original angle, I thought he had a little push in the back, but...
Well, if there's any hand there and kind of just helping Tyler Johnson move in that direction, I think it might be hard to overturn. Are you still in the good books? You can request the challenge?
I think so. I don't know if I've actually requested one.
I think you're pretty good at understanding when you might have done something illegally on the floor.
Yeah, and you got to know that it's... Okay, he reached in. Yeah, that's going to be hard to overturn that one unless this angle shows it clean. Ooh. I stay on the fence with this one, so as per usual.
So the key is with that, it's going to be that baseline angle that they're going to probably really slow down frame by frame and zoom in. So with the whole coach's challenge now, so Galloway is the one whistled for the foul. So the way the rule is, the way the challenge is, if Derek Walton Jr. happens to swipe or make a lot of contact, and that's the one who does the foul, it doesn't matter because all they're challenging is Jalen Galloway's impact on it.
Coach's challenge is unsuccessful. The call on the floor on white 6 stands. We're shooting 2 shots.
Yeah, when you're reaching in from the other guard position, you make any contact with the arms, hand, maybe you get quite a bit of ball as well. It's going to be hard to overturn that. It has to be definitive.
Have a look at that. Chase Buford just they're having a bit of laugh with the young fella who's probably on the replay. He might have been the one pushing, saying, I don't reckon Galloway's touched that, and that might be never a nice position to be in.
Not sure Jalen Galloway is going to get too many opportunities to challenge one for the rest of the season.
Coach looked pretty calm, though, up 18.
Thanks to Latrobe Financial, we've got our Legends competition, which has been running all season long. Get into now on nbl.com.au/legends. Cheeky little 50 grand, it'd be a nice way to start the new year. Andrew White trying to stop Xavier Cooks. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck is right. Xavier Cooks.
White 3, hit out of vertical. We have 1.
He's a mismatch no matter what, because if you get someone who can match his physicality, he's going to have the length most likely to be able to play around or rise above the athleticism, but he's also the ability to put the ball on the floor, get to his spot. Look at this. So Andrew White's doing a great job being physical. He just got to his spot, and that length just rose up over the top.
And if he gets that deep and he does happen to miss, he's such a great athlete, such a quick second jump that he's probably going to get the offensive rebound as well.
15 points now. He's 4 or 5 from the line. He's hit a 3. 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 0 turnovers.
Not a bad game, right? that's a game. We're at halftime.
Tyler Johnson is elite at the mid-range.
A 6-second differential between the game and shot clock. Ball in the hands of Derek Walton Jr. Brisbane with no fouls to give. Clock down to 3. Forces the late foul.
It's probably lucky he got fouled because they ran that play. You could actually hear Chase Buford saying, we've got to have a look for DJ Vasiljevic, and he was wide open. Xavier Cooks made the face. He was ready to set a screen. He was wide open at the top of the key. You see him right there. Nathan Sobey was going to get there late. In the end, he nearly put enough English on that to get a 3-point play opportunity.
I don't think Jace did too much wrong on that either. Really decent defensive position.
I think, and that's probably someone I think would get a few coach challenges himself. He can probably turn. He'd be in the trust circle.
He would be, but yeah. I mean, there was some contact going to the line, but going to the rim, but you got to live with some contact. But he knows it's not going to get overturned if he challenges.
Last chance for the Bullets. Tyler Johnson throws a bullet for Kadee in the corner. And White at the buzzer. Nice little heads-up play. Chase Buford looks a little unsatisfied with that last possession, but they are well and truly in control of this game. They lead 59-40 at Nissan Arena.
That's an assist from Tim Suarez. Knocking it straight to the opposition. It was a good look. It was a great pass. And then Suarez just straight to White, and he'll take that. No doubt about it.
It is a 19-point lead for the visitors at the home break. And they've put another big score on the board. Let's get courtside to Derek.
Good half from you, Jordy. Hunter came off the bench, provided the spark. What went well for you guys after you faced that zone defense from Brisbane?
Oh, we just made sure we got into the middle and cut off the back of it. As long as we keep moving, we seem to be getting pretty good shots. So we want to make sure that ball's zipping around in the second half and get some stops in the second half.
The guys made mention of the fact you pulled up for that 3 in transition. Is that something that's encouraged? You guys play with a lot of freedom. What is the coaching staff's attitude towards those types of plays for you?
Everyone's desperate for me to shoot 3s in transition, so I try to give them what they want. But we practice that a lot, so it's a shot I'm confident with. Didn't drop. It was close. Rolled around for a while, but it's yeah. I could have kept it moving and probably will next time.
All right. It was a good shot, Jordy. We liked it. Hey, go have a break. We'll get you in the second half.
The ladder leaders are flexing their muscle on Wednesday night hoops. They lead 59-40. We'll come back and pull it all apart on the other side of this. You're watching Hungry Jacks. Yeah. Thanks for being with us on Wednesday Night Hoops. We're witnessing the Sydney Kings playing really polished basketball. They lead 59-40 over the Brisbane Bullets at halftime. Tim Suarez has 16 points. Xavier Cooks has 15. And there's not too many chinks in the Sydney Kings armour right now. Ryan Brockhoff and Pete Hawley.
No, it's not. And look, at quarter time, we were saying credit to the Bullets. They came out with the right intent, and they did. But the problem was they got overpowered big time in the second quarter by a team that is in elite form right now. 1 through 12, everyone on the roster's coming in having an impact. We saw Gatorna getting some minutes tonight, and this team right now is absolutely humming and quite literally one of the best teams to watch because of their pace and play.
Yeah, the way they can get out in transition, 1 through 4, bring the ball up, put pressure on the rim. It leads to the field goal percentage you see in front of you, 53% from 2. They're not shooting the ball as well from 3 as they have been, but their ability to get on the rim, get to the free throw line, it's very tough to guard.
It's frightening what the Kings are doing at the moment. I just wonder what the rest of the competition are thinking watching this game right now, including the South East Melbourne Phoenix, who we'll see on Monday against the Brisbane Bullets. We're seeing DJ Vasiljevic in action tonight. His name has been mentioned as being someone potentially in and around the Boomers setup. We've got a World Cup coming up later on this year. Probably is just a good chance for us to reflect, with a Boomer with us, of course, Pete, how good our team could potentially be come this World Cup.
Oh, man, it's going to be unbelievable. I mean, the talent depth now is something that we haven't seen for some time. And, I mean, his name, I think he's definitely a Boomer of the future, but he's still got to dislodge a couple of those veterans who we've seen, and they're shooting the lights out this year. One of the guys next to me right here, and another one who, for Melbourne United, who's unbelievable right now.
Here's just a look at some of the shooters across the league. So DJ, and Derek Rucker highlighted this, has had his highs and his lows throughout the season. Look at the bloke at number 4, just shooting the ball nicely.
Just quietly.
Can we take out last game?
Rowdy, I think the thing that's worth pointing out there too is that Chris Goulding, as that sort of come in and get hot shooter really quick for national duties, he's kind of the incumbent right now.
195 threes at 40%. You take that any day of the week. He hasn't slowed down. He got off to a slow shooting start, but he's really hit his straps lately and so dynamic coming off screens and deep threes, anything. He's a threat crossing half court.
And what probably doesn't work in DJ Vasiljevic's favour for this next World Cup is the likes of Josh Giddey, Dyson Daniels, all these youngsters we know who don't necessarily shoot. That's probably where you look to the veterans like a Chris Goulding, who's shooting 40%. By the way, 75 attempts on nearly 39% is nowhere near enough. But we'll talk about that a bit later.
Let that thing fly more. And shout out to Josh Giddey, who did really well in a nationally televised game today as well. It's 59-40 at halftime at Nissan Arena as we head to the break. Let's just check out a little bit of Jason Caddy's handiwork with thanks to Bunnings.
All right, I'll have a sleep. I'll catch us all later.
Welcome to NBL Weekenders, a series where your favourite hoopers will jump off the court and onto the tools with help of the team at Bunnings.
Just pulling up at Bunnings. I think I need a new fire pit. Thank you. Probably 4 of these perfectly around. This is me. We'll get this one in the car. You've made this trip so much easier because I had no idea. All right, 4 chairs done. Fire pit will just go perfectly in the middle here. Everything's matched up and hopefully it all finishes the way it started.
You're watching Wednesday Night Hoops in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Sydney leading 59-40. Let's see how they got it done in the first half. Pete Hooley and Ryan Brockhoff are at the analysis centre.
Well, we've been talking about their transition, all season long, but especially in this game. So we've got some clips. Let's have a look at this one. This ends up being a miss, but just look at the wide open shot they create. Before we start, Tyler Johnson, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So they've already got one player back in the safety, but it doesn't matter. So anybody can get this off the rim and go. So they even have a bit of a fumble. We see here Derek Walton Jr. And as we pause it, Rowdy, there's so many different options if you don't pick up the ball.
Yeah, you've got to really stop the ball at half court and try and slow them down. You've got obviously shooters coming. Someone's getting on the ring. Suarez is getting on the ring. There's only 3 back, so your communication has to be really on point early to try and be able to rotate.
So that's what we're talking about, somebody having to pick it up, because in the end, you watch Jason Kadee, he's in 2 minds. Do I worry about Kouat-Noy in the corner? Do I try and stop the ball? And in the end, this was right after Kouat-Noy had just made one. They got lucky there. Here's another opportunity where we talk about how dangerous they are. Straight off the rim, contested mid-range jump shot. Nobody ends up picking up the ball. Well, they try, because have a look at this. So Sobey and White were trying to figure out who's trying to go to Xavier Cooks. And Rowdy, as a shooter, if you're DJ Vasiljevic, you're probably loving life right now.
Yeah, you're rubbing your hands together. You'd see Harrison not looking at the ball at all, worrying about his man. But in transition, it's about whoever's closest. And that's just too easy for DJ.
And that would have been an extra pass there to Sean Bruce as well if you don't get back. But this one right here, you talk about what can really happen if nobody declares the ball in transition. The most important guy on the floor is always the guy with the ball. That is a lot more important if right now Xavier Cooks takes Harrison out of the play. If you're DJ Mitchell, you got to stop. Just stop there, because if you don't, what happens, Rowdy?
He gets downhill, he gets ahead of speed. And he's too dynamic in the open court. He's too athletic. He's going to finish over the top of smaller defenders.
And that's what's going to happen. That's what Brisbane have to do better at trying to stop this half.
Nicely done, you two. Just one of the many ways that Sydney have ripped Brisbane apart in that second quarter. They outscored them 35-19 and hence have opened up a 19-point lead at Nissan Arena. A reminder to come tomorrow in the Hungry Jacks NBL. New Zealand take on Melbourne first up, and then Tasmania will do battle against the Adelaide 36ers. And on Friday night, the Cairns Taipans, potentially with the return of Keanu Pinder, will play host to the luckless Illawarra Hawks. Justin Simon unsuccessful with his first attempt. Let's see what sort of adjustments the Brisbane Bullets have been able to make. It started really promisingly for them. They only trailed by 5 at quarter time. And the game got blown up.
And this is the toughest part about playing against the Kings. They're going to go on these runs. They're going to have these quarters. They might have a half where they almost look unstoppable. But what can you change? What can you kind of switch up to try and get yourself back in the game? And there's one rebound. And look at this, 4 on 2.
His hands from Kadee, but Xavier Cooks is always there. I thought he was fouled that time. Nothing happening there. Baines establishes position, doesn't finish from underneath. An opportunity goes missing for the Bullets.
So with those 11 points. Oh, Johnson, 9. So there's 20 of the Brisbane 40 right there.
Sydney Kings 15-5 on the season and the #1 team in the competition. Suarez is feeling good from outside. That one jumps out. Bullets fans still standing. This is the tradition at Nissan Arena to start the second half. Baines, this time, foul.
They've gone to two possessions in a row. You can see their intent after half-time. Let's get a big fella involved. Let's slow the ball. Let's slow the game down. Get the ball inside. Start grinding away at this lead.
And for all the hype we talk about the Sydney Kings on the offensive end, it's worth noting that they are elite on the defensive end as well, especially in the first, I would say, 16 to 18 seconds. That's when they're at their best. They've got the ball pressure. Justin Simon, Xavier Cooks, they really set the tone and lead. It's potentially that third side. So once you reverse the ball a couple of times, you get to the last 8 seconds of the shot clock where you can kind of get a breakdown. You make them have to move a couple of sides, and then you can try and attack.
Yeah, with their drops on ball coverage, they really tempt you into that mid-range shot, contested floater or mid-range shot that's a difficult shot to hit. and then they're able to run out of that. So you've got to not fall into that trap and get through your offenses all the way.
Vasiljevic gets in deep and lays it up. Everyone's standing back waiting for him to pull the trigger on a deep one.
Well, you see Greg Vanderjagt turn to the bench. I think he was asking about where the help side defense was, and this is the game. This is the part of DJ Vasiljevic's game that I like. Again, he just finds a different way to hit the scoreboard. And turnover against the Kings. Two guys try and slow down the ball, and they're out. And they get lucky because Justin Simon wanted the lob, and Vasiljevic wanted the trail three.
Just their second turnover of the game, Sydney. A rare fumble from Derek Walton Jr. And Baines trying to get himself into this game in the third quarter. Brisbane will get a bonus possession. Sobey from the baseline. Kadee travels. Sydney get the ball back straight away.
Oh, zap the energy out of Nissan Arena. Hear a pin drop right now. It's always going to be a tough task, and they started perfectly in this game. In that play there, you see Xavier Cooks was the one who inbounded the ball and absolutely took off. He knew he was going to have a chance to make a play down the other end.
Cooks bringing the ball up the floor.
Oh, boy.
But that's Sydney again. They push it, whoever it is, and you leave the most dangerous three-point shooter out there. And he's, look, I'd be doing the same thing. You've just hit one, it gets waved off, it always happens.
So DJ Vasiljevic asking for a challenge, so we'll have another look at it here. And
it's quite a bit early, but it's worth a shot.
Well, there's no challenge because Chase Buford already used it. That's one of those, you don't like often when the guards jump in front of the big guys who are just running the lane, but there wasn't a whole lot in that anyway. And Sobey answers back, so they get the call. They wiped away a Vasiljevic three, and then Sobey knocks down a three to go to 14 points. This could be a little bit of the spark they need.
It's just going to make it hurt that little bit more for DJ. His gets waved off, and then Sobey drains one at the other end. The biggest problem all night has been at this end, Brisbane, getting stops. Justin Simon shot that three like he meant it.
Oh, I love his chat with Derek Rucker. He said he's, oh, here we go. Get upstairs, DJ. Yep, no 500.
Not even a backboard tap.
Not even a backboard tap
on that one.
He's not unathletic. Look, come on, DJ. It's Dunkuary. You're allowed to attempt one, surely.
Has he got it in him?
Oh, I'm sure. On a good day.
Far be it from me to insult anyone on not being able to dunk, so I'm happy to go with it. Walton Jr. numbers against. Does not matter.
I mean, let's be honest, that is such a poor shot selection. You have no advantage whatsoever. There was actually a really good load up from the Brisbane Bullets, but you hear Chase Buford screaming, get it and run. He's literally screaming to attack and take any shot that's on offer, but Derek Walton's just that good.
My thoughts exactly. When he took that shot, most coaches wouldn't be happy with that one, but that's the style they play. They don't want to push the ball. They want to take good, quick shots and get on the rim. And
oh, my. Oh, hello.
That's incredible. Derek Walton Jr. with a party trick.
Oh, hello. Replay here. Derek Walton Jr. Oh, boy.
I'm going on 17. It's on Krebs on the
That's one of the prettiest things I've ever seen.
The old spin cycle on the layup.
He put him in the Fisher and Paykel.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's on Tanner on the legs underneath the basket. It's not on Aaron. It's not on Aaron.
So there you go. Manager ready to take out
both got the same
Baines.
Clearly clipped them on the leg on the shot.
But the foul was on Tanner Krebs, not Aaron Baines.
Still, that was an incredible finish. How do you maintain focus, getting turned around 360, and being able to finish? Incredible.
Well, he probably took a bit of confidence out of the poor shot he made with it fading away the one before.
Thought he reversed the spin and get himself.
That's what I was talking about. It's a reverse cycle. Well, he might land himself on a couple of top 10s, I reckon.
Absolutely. NBA Bo, that one's for you. This lead is now 26. It's alarming if you're Brisbane. Baines from outside.
The stops were quick, 10-0 row. I think Brisbane got it down to 16 and had a bit of momentum, and Sydney just score so efficiently and so quickly and can turn it on in the blink of an eye.
And if you're Vanger, so they've come out a little flat here, no doubt, in the third quarter. 73 points on the board with 5 minutes to go. Suarez gets another block, and here go the Kings. I'm probably thinking we need just to inject a little bit of energy.
Xavier Cooks tried to impersonate Derek Walton Jr. then.
Like, I'm talking maybe a Cody Statman, because he was really good at the end of that Cairns Taipans game. Just someone to try and bring some sort of spark.
Yes.
Because you put 73 points you've given up with 4.5 minutes to go in the third.
We've only seen Gorjok Gak for 7 minutes. Is he the sort of player potentially, Rowdy, that could come in and offer something up?
I would think so. He's had a great season so far and really come along recently. So,
and Nathan Sobey now issued with a warning. He wasn't happy with the call. Derek Rucker courtside. What are you seeing?
Well, I felt that last week. I thought putting Gorjak Gak back on the bench was a bad move, and I thought it was reflected in the way he played last week. He lacked a bit of confidence, and I think this is a guy who you can start to build around. He can be one of your key pieces, but you got to show him love right now. He's sitting over the bench right now. I'm looking at him. He looks somewhat dismayed. He's probably confused because he was playing really well, and now he can barely hit the court. And my question is, where do the Bullets go, not only in the rest of this game, but for the duration of the season? When do you start giving guys opportunities now that you know the main guys that you paid for and had expectations for have not been able to deliver for one reason or another?
D-Ruck, I am #1 on the Gorjok Gak fan bandwagon, whatever you want to call it. I love what he's done this season. I think he's been such a great surprise packet and continue to show that growth, but he's taken every opportunity. And I actually thought that they might get to a place where you can have Aaron Baines even slide to the 4 and have Gak play at the 5, because Baines' ability to shoot the 3, knock one down before. But they just you have to find minutes for him. I know you're trying to get a lot of minutes back into Tyrell Harrison, who missed a lot of time with injury, which you need to do as well. But Gak's done absolutely nothing to not be out there.
Well, just to back that up, Rowdy, 5 of Gorjok Gak's last 8 games, he's had 10 or more points and 6 or more rebounds.
I mean, that's fantastic output for a young fella, and this is the time. There's nothing to lose. It's a great point. Trying to find some energy from some of the younger players, get some minutes into them, and look, their season hasn't gone the way they thought, so let's see what they've got for next season. Let's see some of the young kids. Let's see some of the development that's gone on. And as I speak, Harry Froling checks in for his game 150.
But they looked absolutely a different team. They looked terrific with Gak out there. His energy and activity is throws it up to Harrison. Didn't get his timing right, and Benny Hill music on that play. And it's hard because you talk about
a delay of game for sure.
Yep, there it is. You can't. You want to give the youngsters a run towards the end of the season. You can't make finals. You can't just bench all the starters and main guys completely and not play them at all. You definitely throw them out there to start the game, and if they're playing well, but in certain moments, I definitely start sprinkling Cody Statman. He goes to play NBL 1, even Gak. It's not the same as actually playing in an NBL game and getting development, even off-season training, pre-season. Nothing is the same. Nothing can help you improve in the NBL more than actually playing in it.
Great point. And it's just mixing them in. They don't have to be playing all the minutes and the big names sitting out. Mix them in with some of these guys. Run them through some sets. Let them get comfortable. But then they don't have to shoulder all of the load of offensively trying to score, trying to defend. Just bleed them in.
Suarez with block number 4, Derek Rucker.
And the other thing, continuing on this conversation, is you build principles, right? And you have values in amongst your team, and you talk about guys that perform and guys that work hard and do it when the lights are on, that you earn your playing time. Well, now you're totally contradicting probably some of the values that you espouse to the team. And now Gak, I'm telling you guys, I'm sitting here looking at him. He's just staring off across the court, shaking his head in disbelief. And now they're going to Kadia and looked over Gak again. I'm really confused.
Oh, I actually think, look, to be honest, I mean, Nathan Sobey, he's got 14 points. Baines got 7 points. they haven't looked horrendous, the starters, compared to last week in terms of where they looked like they checked out a little bit in the Cairns game. I just think that Sydney, once they put their foot down, is the time to just get that spark. Just find that spark on a group that's not on the floor, that's not getting it done. It's got nothing against them dropping their heads like we've seen a couple of times. I don't think that's happened at all. It's more so, where can we find a different energy that we haven't seen so far in this particular game at this particular moment?
17 points to 7 in the third quarter. Johnson is going to get himself on the free throw line. There's Nathan Sobey. Clearly unhappy. DJ Mitchell, another who we haven't seen a lot of in the second half. Aaron Baines. At times it can be hard to watch, and the frustration is visible.
It is, and it's not through lack of trying. Look, they're competing and they're putting in the effort. It just hasn't worked for them. This squad just hasn't gelled the way they thought it would. But it could be time to sprinkle some young guys in and see how it works. Sometimes that bit of youthful enthusiasm, you know, not smart enough to be afraid of the moment, that can kind of help turn things around and bring the competition, like bring the competitiveness back.
And again, you'll never know unless you try, isn't it? I mean, that's the other side of it. And I guess if you're the coaching staff of the Bullets, you worry the whole of, you could potentially throw them out there and then go the other way, where they just get overpowered by the Kings if they're on a big time roll. So I understand that side of it, but I'm a big on, especially now with the season done and dusted for the Bullets in terms of making finals. You can still spoil some parties, but really developing these youngsters in different moments throughout the games and really trying to ramp that up. So maybe it is by the last game of the season, it is that one where they're playing 25 minutes each.
Thanks to MG, we've got a brand new, fully electric MG ZSEV. I sound like Gazy when I'm talking about this, because this is normally his go. You can enter now at nbl.com.au/winmg. I'm taking a little seat inside Andrew Gaze's EV, Rowdy. It is sharp.
Yeah, I heard him talking about it. He hasn't been to the fuel pump in weeks, so it's a nice vehicle, absolutely.
It's like he's here with me right now.
MG, come on board.
Speaking of which, he told me he was getting picked up a week or 2 weeks ago, and that date just keeps getting pushed back. You know why? Because when you concrete in a charger at home, you can't remove a concrete charger.
He didn't want you to say anything.
That thing is staying there.
They're going to have a hard time getting it off him, I know that.
Oh, my.
Pass, Cooks for Hunter. Well, it's a smorgasbord.
Then he wanted to travel. I'm not sure there was a travel. There was Xavier Cooks just being Xavier Cooks. 17 points. He's got 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Tyler Johnson, he's doing his best to keep the scoreboard ticking over. 13 points for him.
How have you seen Tyler Johnson's season, Pete? Came with a lot of hype and fanfare, obviously, when you play 350 NBA games.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, the last couple of games off the bench, has realised he's going to have to try and just really tick the scoreboard over. Kind of like what Barry Brown Jr. was doing in New Zealand before having to start with Will McDowell-White out. But I look back at the start of the season, obviously with the roster that was put together, we all forget Nathan Sobey was coming off not playing a game since January last year. So he had not played a professional game and had to figure out a way to get up to speed as quickly as possible. So it's going to take him time. Aaron Baines hadn't played a game in even longer than that. So two of their two main guys had been out for so long, to try and get them that conditioning, that get back on the floor, and then to bring in a man of this caliber to try and fit in amongst those two alphas on the team. It was always going to take some time, but didn't work out, I guess, the way they wanted, and everything that happened off the court couldn't have come at a worse time, really.
I guess the other thing, Rowdy, and you've played at the highest level, we're seeing this more and more when imports come over with NBA experience. It's not an easy thing to adjust to this league for a variety of reasons.
No, it's a very difficult league, and obviously compared to the NBA, the three-point line being a little bit closer in, it's a little bit more congested, it's less free-flowing unless you play for Sydney. They just keep racking it up.
Oh my, they're on track for a monster score here.
But it's such a technical game here in Australia. It's all about creating little advantages through your offensive sets and being able to exploit them, and less on sort of individual plays and creation. So it takes a little bit of time to adjust. It's obviously called differently over here with the referees, and there's just a lot of different factors that can take time.
It's interesting we talk about that, and you mentioned imports coming over who've had that NBA experience. See Harry Froling knock down a three. It recently came out in terms of the pace of play of the NBL and the Sydney Kings, how it's second in comparison to the NBA around all the other leagues. Euro League is completely different.
Yeah, it's
but
slow.
the thing is, you'd also, if you're an NBA player, you don't look at that and say, oh, I could come in and have the same success I have in the NBA because the NBL plays a similar pace. The NBL, the physicality is more. You have to actually execute in the half court because the court is smaller. The spacing gets taken out of it compared to an NBA floor, and obviously the game's shortened as well. So you've got to try and get a type of Euro FIBA feel with the pace of play of an NBA game, and it takes a lot of adjustment.
It was a very interesting graphic, that one, that was doing the rounds on Twitter yesterday.
Chase Buford liked it, why wouldn't you?
Froling.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a dunk for 150.
I think he might have just got a little flat tire late.
Well, he did get a very nice reverse dunk up in the ice house at Mount Gambier. Mind you,
9-foot rim.
Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. There's one in that.
Was waiting for it.
I've heard it's been fixed.
Glover catch and shoot. Nice hit.
Oh boy, Angus Glover. That is a man coming off the bench with extreme confidence. They have 88 points through 3 quarters.
You said it right, Pete. They're on track for a monster fourth quarter score.
Oh, he's probably going to win.
He's done everything else. Why not? Sydney have blown Brisbane off their floor. 88-55 they lead at Nissan Arena. It's three-quarter time in the Hungry Jacks NBL. With thanks to Latrobe Financial, our Legends competition has been running all season long. You can enter now at nbl.com.au/legends. Here's just a snapshot of some of the entries that we've been receiving in from around the country. Who's the go-to man, Rowdy, to Southeast Melbourne Phoenix training? When everyone lines up at halfway, who's the first one knocking it down?
Kyle Adnam, without a doubt.
Really?
He has it locked in. It's unbelievable. He's very consistent with it.
That's actually funny you mentioned that. Back in 2018, when we used to do that at the end of shoot-arounds, would take home the pot more often than anybody.
I believe it. He's just got a knack for it. He shoots it like a little flick shot, and it hits the rim softly and drops down.
Little friendly, little cash on the line. The fine jars, throw the fine jars in there.
It hasn't really taken off this season. I think everyone sees kids that make it all the time at training and just like, I don't want to waste my money.
That's how we used to do. Every fine would go towards it, unless there was a couple of big fines. They had to take the boys to lawn bowls, put on a barbecue spread at lawn bowls. Or the movies. The movies is not one you want because the movie tickets
adds up quickly.
For 12 guys who they're going to be annoying and want to get popcorn and a large drink, that's half a game paycheck for the. Oh, he's been hungry for one.
Oh, that's Galloway. Came up with it.
Oh, Hunter. We're playing volleyball out there. There's a spike and a set just there.
It's just a real weird sort of start to the fourth quarter.
I reckon Joy Hunter was playing a couple of different sports there. That should not count. Good take there from Kadee.
Classic Kadee, that one.
Points count. Like 7.
So I like that from Chase Buford right now. He's trying to tell everybody to stay disciplined. And this is a really hard couple of minutes here for the Kings. You're up by so much. You know you've got this game. One, to stay disciplined, to keep your foot down, to continue to learn and grow. So right there, Chase Buford saying to Sean Bruce, why are you standing up in that closeout? Why are you leaving your feet, letting Jason Kadee get past you?
Solidify their spot on top of the table, Sydney. 15-5 on the season. New Zealand losing last night to Perth gives them a little bit more of a buffer. Sean Bruce responds. His first bucket of the game.
Great offensive set. Just, they moved the ball, unselfish. DJ was able to attack into the paint again, cut it from the weak side, left Shawnee wide open.
Well, they scored 118 the other week against an unknown team.
Unknown team.
So it will still take something special to get there.
It's been the third time tonight that you've...
I have not mentioned it.
He's gone at me tonight.
He's trying a bit of shade.
I have not mentioned it. To be honest, I think on that night, 75% from three, you can put any team against them. They're going to run up the score.
DJ hit 10 of 12 or something ridiculous.
He hit 10 of 14.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
but
poor percentage.
He's probably got to shoot a couple more. Speaking of you, only taking the 75 threes, shooting at 39%, nowhere near enough.
Let that thing fly.
Oh, was that it? He's going to say that was a pass, that one.
He is saying that was a pass.
Terrell Harrison still making his return from injury, only his third game back. Suffered a knee issue just before Christmas. Froling knock one down last quarter. Unsuccessful that time. Game number 150. They dared him to shoot, and they shouldn't have.
It's too much time, too much space. Just if any player in this league, if they can have that much time just to kind of set their feet, look at the rim, take a breath, they're going to make it more than they miss.
He's now a game-high 34-point lead. It's got really nasty for the Bullets in this second half. A reminder, there's only 5 points the difference between the teams at quarter time. It's been all Sydney since then.
Now on the basis of what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, it's going to take a massive effort from a team to beat the Sydney Kings 3 times in the grand final series. And I like this from Greg Banniger. That timeout, because that 96 points, we've got 7 minutes to go. Might be time to insert some energy.
96-60. I think it's probably wise that we stay out of that timeout and don't have a listen to Greg Vanderjagt, because I think there could be some choice words.
Yeah, I mean, even though you're down, you don't want to see lack of energy, lack of intent. You want to play the right way. Just the same with what Pools are saying about Sydney. You've still got to stick to your principles and play the same way, whether you're up or down.
Aaron Baines watching on there. Another night of struggle for Brisbane, and unfortunately for them, it's going to be another lopsided result. They've only won 1 of their last 9 games. This losing streak is going to continue.
they're going to back up in a couple of nights against United, and then we play them on Monday as well. So it's a tough stretch of games for them. You know, 3 games in 6 days, quality opposition. You know, you just...
36-point lead for the Sydney Kings, and with thanks to the Hungry Jacks, you can whopper your way to LA. Grab any large burger meal at Hungry Jacks, enter your receipt code to win. Get flights, accommodation, spending money, and 4 tickets, of course, to a basketball game in the US of A. Gorjok Gak checking back in, which I think is going to make Derek Rucker pretty happy courtside.
Makes me very happy. He's only played the 7 minutes. And again, he's not someone necessarily going to throw the ball to just like that and say, get us a bucket one-on-one. But he's going to fight and contest every shot on the defensive end. It's a great pass. And there's Cody Statman as well.
He's checked in.
Local boy from Queensland, and Cairns in particular, returning to Australia to play for the first time as a professional player.
It's a tough one. Straight off the bench. Been sitting for a while. You get your first shot. Legs just aren't quite there.
What a pass. It didn't matter last week when he came on against the Taipans. Had 10 points in 8 minutes.
Pass batted down. Vasiljevic for Noy on the move. They are just doing whatever they want.
Well, I mean, quite literally, he wanted to pass that, did Vasiljevic, no doubt.
This is an absolute shellacking.
About to raise the bat with 5 minutes to go. Take the helmet off, raise the bat.
Kadee, top of the key.
It's not like they haven't been getting good shots as well, Brisbane. They've just...
4 of 24 from 3, and you're right. A lot of those have been terrific looks. There's Harry following Des Galloway. It's right now. He was 0-2 before that, so it's a good decision. Good slow closeout. As you mentioned, 4 of 24 from 3. They've got 14 turnovers to Sydney's 5.
Down low, can't score. Pete, we spoke a lot about last Thursday's game against Cairns and how disappointing that was. Harsh reality. Have they been any better tonight?
Well, I think shoulders up, I would say, is there it is. There's the 100, but they haven't necessarily dropped their heads, but they've just been outworked, out-hustled ever since quarter time, and they've really tried to respond with some big shots ever since that second quarter, where it's just not going to work, because if you try and get that rush shot, you try and, I mean,
just playing into their hands.
Well, you are, and there's no 40-point shot, so it doesn't work. And then Derek Walton Jr. comes down and just walks in to a basic layup for him, as easy as you like. And I like that from Vandy. I think Vandy was ready to check in Baines and Tyler Johnson. I think right now he's just trying to keep the scoreboard. Goodness, please play this man. Play this man.
Derek Rucker courtside.
Thanks, Jack. And, you know, I mentioned to you guys in the first half, in the first quarter, actually, Pete and Ryan, I asked you if this was sustainable, if the Bulls can go up and down with these guys, and I had serious doubts. I've just seen too much of this, and when you don't have the bench power and you don't have the organization and the cohesiveness as a team, as the Bullets lack, then you're going to get in trouble down the road. Now, the Bullets threw up a little bit of a fight. They threw up a little bit of resistance when they went to that zone defense, but that was the last we saw, guys. Sydney figured it out, and in the man-to-man, Brisbane just have no answer for any of these guys on the court. It's hip by hip anytime they want, and that creates problems for your defense.
Well, I think he's trying to say, I told you so. That's what I think Ruff's trying to say, I told you so. You boys don't know what you're talking about.
He's coming at me as well. I'm having a rough night.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, look, we're sorry. We're wrong.
We were.
No, but he's right. I mean, I thought they needed to show that. You needed to come out on the front foot and try and be as aggressive and proactive, I guess, in attacking, but it wasn't going to be sustainable. What was your backup plan, or how do you kind of shift momentum? And here's the replay of that dunk from Gak, just a length. Look at that. Just give me that.
Hunter Clark checking in for his first minutes. .340 remaining. What's been another rough night.
Son of Marty Clark, my AS coach, a few years ago now.
Oh, look at the boy, Adam Reynolds, Corey Oates.
A few of the Broncos boys.
Speaking of some toughness, those boys out there. Oh, there's a Kings jersey in front of Clark, oh, Adelaide 36's coach.
Simon for Glover.
Sobey's. Oh, no. He was down here.
Brisbane are going to call a timeout. Let's take another look at Nathan Sobey.
Oh, yeah, caught that left hand from Koinoy, absolutely. There's nothing in that play there, but right there, copped an absolute whack across the face. Oh, that's an elbow too. That's not great at all.
I was hoping that was a padded arm sleeve, but it's no, that's a big hit.
That's good. Hopefully he's all right there, Sobey.
He's checking the teeth and the nose and all that sort of stuff. It is a timeout with 3:24 remaining. Derek, just want to ask you from your expert opinion, you're an MVP of this league. You've also seen the Brisbane Bullets up close every single week this season. It's been a tumultuous season, no question about that. They are without a coach for next season. There's some discussion already about player contracts. Is this not just the team, Derek, at the club? Is this almost full reset mode now for the Bullets?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because it looks like the ownership group has finally shown up here. I see some familiar faces, and Larry Kesselman, the head of the NBL, is here, so I'm presuming that is who is sitting here courtside, and perhaps that reset is going to commence this week. But certainly there needs to be restructure in the front office. There needs to be an overall reset on the culture and the vibe. They have the public support here, but internally there's just an institutionalized feeling of losing, and you see it happen at some point in the game when it comes to that critical time. It could be in the first quarter, it could be in the third quarter, but lately they've just been relenting and allowing teams to go through. Now, I always believe that the ownership is a trickle-down thing, where if the ownership is solid, it will be reflected in the players and how they perform on the floor. So I think that's a lot of what we're seeing, but it remains to be seen. This ownership group has said that they're going to become more hands-on. Now it's up to them to prove their words are honest and that they're going to do something to change this thing around.
It's going to have to be a very busy off-season for them. It starts now, really.
Oh, it does, but I think a lot of us, as Angus Glover tries to add to the pain, and he does that. He is playing some really good basketball into double figures now. 11 points, Angus Glover, and they are just piling on the hurt. I think a lot of us, just because of these disappointing performances we've seen over the last couple of weeks, forget what everyone went through in terms of the Bullets players and the coaching staff through that middle part of the season. I mean, that's where, as a past player or even as just any athlete at any level, you feel for what they went through trying to get through that period. And there is Larry Kesselman there having a chat.
I hear what you're saying, and I don't know what that's like, so I'm not going to pretend that I do as an athlete, but that can't excuse tonight and last week.
No, it doesn't, but I'm saying back then we were looking at it and being like, look, I feel for the players, but still your escape from all the nonsense that's going off the floor is the 40 minutes between the white lines you get to play every other day. Yep. That's your escape from it, where you can come together as 12 players and say, this is our time. Let's just go out here and just try and have some fun and let everything else that's happening off the floor. And as I said, I thought for a couple of weeks there they had a renewed spirit about themselves. They had a renewed energy that they really wanted to finish the season on a right way. And I haven't seen anyone really drop their heads in this game. I think they've just been overpowered by a much, much, much better team. But we have seen it in recent weeks where it looks like it's just been completely deflating.
They are a mighty Sydney Kings team. No doubt about that. Baines with the size advantage over Gatorna. Draws a foul.
What are we talking about? To be honest, I'm a little shocked that Aaron Baines is still out there right now. As expected, he's going to come out here. 109 points on the board, just scored 62. Just both ends of the spectrum, isn't it? Where 80 is the magic number you want to hold a team to if you want to be competitive in the NBL that we've seen in recent history. But If you score 62 in a game, you're going to struggle to win a lot of games. But if you give up 109, you're probably not winning any.
You're probably not winning any. No, they've been at their ruthless best, Sydney, getting out in transition and defensively locking things down. 62 points is your dream of keeping opponents to that, but tough night for Brisbane.
It's the polar opposite of the two benches, wasn't it? The Sydney Kings are all laughing, all smiling, they're all happy. Unfortunately for the Bullets, a lot of forlorn figures right there.
Well, I think Baines actually did something to his finger there because he was prepared to go to the free throw line but said he couldn't shoot his free throw, so subbed out of the game. Harry Froling came in. There's Greg Vanderjet, and I think he'd be disappointed with the last couple of performances, and the score like this never looks great.
Minute 40 left. Jackson McCoy now scores, and that leaves Isaac Gatorna as the only Sydney King to not score tonight.
Well, they can't get it done in 90 seconds. It's a loss. It's bad performance. It's bad team performance.
He's on the floor, so that's a start.
He's had 2 shots. He took a 3 as well.
Statman short. There's Gatorna with the rebound. Glover. Has that one out of play.
A turnover to his name.
So the Kings will play Illawarra on Sunday, home game at Kudos Bank Arena. And for Brisbane, as Ryan Brockhoff mentioned earlier, they will play Melbourne on Saturday at Nissan Arena. And they play the Phoenix on Monday at the State Basketball Centre in Victoria's southeast.
Sell that, I've been told.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to get back into the heartland, into the southeast for a few games to end out the regular season.
What do you like shooting on those rooms? Obviously, practice down there.
Hopefully better than last game. Yeah, I mean, we spend a lot of our time. We share it with the Flyers, so usually we get bumped up to the other court. So we'll see.
It is. I remember
Shooter's Gym, though.
The last couple seasons, though, I went down there to call a couple games, and it's unbelievable atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but it's just a big credit right now. I mean, look at the crowd here at Nissan Arena for this game. The NBL crowds, it's a big testament to all the fans who continue to come out, and you don't want to miss a game now, because as we head up towards the play-in tournament, every game matters, and there is some real big opportunities to see some elite performances. This gap just tucks it in.
Yeah, you sort of see some of the games tomorrow. Just huge ramifications come finals time, come play-in. Finishing in the top 6. So.
Have you seen the percentages on the ladder, by the way, just at a couple of those teams around that play-in tournament, where you think about it, last shots not matter when blowout games. It won't matter for the Kings or the Bullets. As Angus Glover
3 more
is just mucking around. 116 points. It is a 51-point margin.
Froling with a late 3.
And that is one way to keep the score under 50.
49, the final margin. It is the biggest win of the season. In the Hungry Jacks NBL, the Sydney Kings clobber the Brisbane Bullets 116-67.
You know, we've said all that has to be said. I see Andrew Bogut making the trip up, and really, really tough night. No sugarcoating it for the Brisbane Bullets, and again, when they have been struggling, look at that last Cairns game, probably the last team you want to go up against is the Sydney Kings, who realised tonight was a chance to create a buffer and pretty much lock in the minor premiership in the top spot. They weren't going to take their foot off the gas, and they did it by committee. Suarez 20 points, Cooks 20 points, Walton Jr. had 18 points. They had 25 assists on 40 made field goals. I mean, good luck beating this team if they're going to play like this.
You've got so many weapons. They don't want for anything. They work hard defensively. They share the ball. It's hard to find any weaknesses.
No, not at the moment. They play really well together. It looks like they enjoy playing together, enjoy sharing the ball, and another 55% field goal percentage night for them, just becoming standard, which is absurd. And 96% from the free throw line doesn't hurt either. They're shooting the ball with such confidence and they're playing with such confidence right now that it's going to be a challenge for any team to beat them.
That takes them to 16-5 on the season and takes them to 8-2 when they're on the road. It's an imposing record. It's a mighty record, and they are the best team in the competition as it stands right now. Let's get courtside to Derek Rucker.
Here was Xavier Cooks, our Foot Locker player of the game. Another outstanding performance from you, X. How did you feel coming into the game?
I felt good, but it was mostly a great team performance. I mean, we had a lot of guys in double figures. We played a great all-around game tonight.
What's the key right now? You guys have really hit a groove since the Christmas Day game. You seem to be pushing the ball. Suarez can push the ball. That versatility amongst you big men makes you a real threat.
Yeah, just unorthodox. You know what I mean? They got traditional big men. They can't really run with us. That's our kind of game style. And some other teams have smaller guys who are going to bang the ball in the post. But our versatility is our best asset.
You shot the ball well. Your free throw shooting's coming through. I mentioned during the broadcast that your stroke is actually pretty good. You mentioned to me that was more your mindset and being able to replicate the same shooting action in games.
Yeah, it's just about slowing down a little bit and not going full pace all the time. I'm just trying to put my head on the rim, trying to slow down, let the game come to me a bit more.
In the second quarter, you were told to attack the rim, and that really made a difference against their zone defense. What do you prefer to do? Do you like to push more in transition, or do you not mind a half-court breakdown off the bounce?
I'm probably much better at a transition when they're not set up yet. In the half court, I struggle a little bit because they're set up, but I can do whatever they need me to do.
Finally, you did a tremendous gesture for me yesterday. Came and talked to some of my elite girls with DRB. Hey, that's the type of action from an outstanding player that really impacts the community and impacts an industry. So for me and the girls who train with me, we really appreciate that. You're a fine young man and an outstanding representative of the NBL.
Man, I appreciate the kind words, man. It means a lot. I appreciate it.
All right, but the only thing was, they asked me, is that Eric Cooks? I said, no, that's Xavier Cooks.
Oh, man, I better not say anything to get in trouble right here, but the disrespect right here.
All right, X, thank you very much.
He's fantastic, isn't he, Xavier Cooks? 116-67, the final score. They spread the ball around, but particularly in the first half, Rowdy, when the game was up for grabs, it was Xavier Cooks who was unstoppable.
Yeah, his ability to create baskets, not just for himself, but for others, get to the free throw line, changes the game, and I thought Suarez defensively was a real force down low as well.
8 assists for Xavier Cooks.
Does it all at a really, really high level. I know everyone likes to talk about him taking the next leap to the NBA. Even if he couldn't shoot the rock, he would still bring so much to an NBA side. He's terrific. He's our Foot Locker player of the game. 25 and 8. That's a really efficient number. So I'd love to see him get that chance in the offseason.
We're going to come back and pull this all apart. It was a horror night for the Brisbane Bullets, but the Sydney Kings showed why they are the best team in the competition. Winners tonight by 49. Stick around.
This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Warehouse.
One, two, three, four, five. Ground control to Major Tom. NBL to jump. NBL to jump.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás?
No, we're not hearing anything back as yet.
¿Cómo estás, man?
NBL to jump. No, nothing as yet.
Yeah.
Is that the goat? What's good?
Oh.
You're watching the Hungry Jacks NBL, and here are the highlights from Wednesday night hoops. No surprise, a lot of them belong to the Sydney Kings. They put 116 on the board. It's their second highest score of the season, and the 49-point margin is the biggest win by anyone this season.
Well, it's no surprise. I mean, 5-point game at quarter time. That's the thing that really gets me, but that also just shows the might and power of this Kings outfit, but the depth as well. Angus Glover, 14 points off the bench, and Vasiljevic had 11 points. Justin Simon had 11. Everyone else just really did their thing, and this team is firing on absolutely all cylinders. We know Brisbane were definitely poor, but when you're coming up against this Kings team feeling this good about themselves, you're going to have to play 40 minutes of unbelievably good basketball to beat them.
Yeah, they're too deep. Everyone plays a great role. They have an attacking style of basketball. They get lots of shots up, and they're so efficient. 56% from the field. It's hard to stop any team shooting that high.
They outscored them 57-17 in the second half. It was a total walloping on behalf of the Sydney Kings. And, well, they had so many choices. They had so many options. But really, with this team, Rowdy, it's Derek Walton Jr. who controls things. He sets the tone. He shoots when it's his turn. He passes when it's his turn. He's a wonderful point guard.
He's a true point guard. He knows when to get guys involved. He knows when it's his time to attack. That was a tough one that he made, but his coach is telling him to keep pushing the ball, keep playing that way, but he really sets them up and is the engine room for them.
It was a poor shot that he made, but that one was a better one straight after. And, I mean, this is an all-NBL first-team guard. Make no mistake about that. He's just been that good. And it's strange that, in a weird way, it seems over the past month or so, we've kind of forgotten about how good Derek Walton Jr. is. He's still been performing at a high rate, but because Xavier Cooks has been dominating, DJ Vasiljevic is dropping 42, hitting 10 threes, that we're just thinking, OK, they are unbelievable right now. Meanwhile, Derek Walton Jr. has just been coasting along, playing at such a high level, and that's why he's an all-NBL guard.
Really fascinating round, this one in the Hungry Jacks NBL. A lot of very, very interesting games too tomorrow night, but one that has certainly caught our attention is Perth and Adelaide on Saturday night at RAC Arena. The Wildcats completely threw convention out the door last night, Pete. They basically went with 6 players. Todd Blanchfield didn't play. Mitch Norton played 3 minutes. It was the Websters and Bryce Cotton who spent a lot of time out on the floor, and Tashawn Thomas and Brady Manick looked as good as they've looked all season.
Well, I think John really just realising how important every game is and just taking the game, reading the game as it comes. So, OK, this is what we need right now. This is all I'm going to play with. And it's funny because it worked, so he's obviously deserves that praise. If he lost, everyone would be saying, you're not playing enough players. So you've got to take that gamble in the position that they're in, but that's a double points game, and that game is so important.
And just on the Adelaide 36ers, Rowdy, they're not at that stage just yet, but they're pretty close where every game's an elimination final for them.
Yeah, it's so close right now between 4 or 5 teams vying for those last few spots, and each game's so important. It's so close, it's going to come down to the wire. So games like this, where it's a double game advantage, really important.
And then there's this on Sunday, the New Zealand Breakers taking on the Cairns Taipans. The Breakers lost last night, so it's opened up the door for the Taipans to slide on past them. That game, 2 o'clock at Spark Arena in New Zealand.
Well, we'll find out if Keanu Pinter is going to be back, but I tell you what, talk about a double points game. You want to finish second. You don't want to miss out on second spot by a half a percentage point or maybe a game here or there, because if you don't have to worry about the playing tournament, that's great, because if you finish third and then you lose that first round matchup in the playing tournament, then you kind of drop your head, you have that pressure, and you have to play against the team that just won and is coming up. Once you see the playing tournament works, straight set, you're out. You don't even get a semi-final series, you'd be mildly disappointed.
So that's what's to come for the remainder of the round, but tonight was a healthy reminder that we just witnessed the best team in the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Complete demolition tonight.
Yeah, they were from 1 through 12, everybody. It was a great game plan, and they've sent a message in back-to-back games. They've really sent a message to everybody that you've got to get on our level quick, because we're feeling really good about themselves. And a few games left. Do they need a slip-up? That's the question that I've had in the years past when a team's rolling this. Do they need a reality check at some point to think, OK, maybe this is not as easy as we're playing it right now, and really lock back into finals? We'll find out.
I'm not sure if it's going to come. The way that they're playing, they won by 49 tonight on behalf of Ryan Brockhoff, Peter Hooley, Derek Rucker, and our team behind the scenes, who are the best in the business. There's no question about that. Thanks for being with us tonight. It's the Sydney Kings winners over the Brisbane Bullets, 116-67. We'll see you for a doubleheader tomorrow night in the Hungry Jacks NBL. So a great result tonight for the Sydney Kings, winners by 49 points over the Brisbane Bullets. A lot to talk about, no question, for the team on the jump who are assembled and ready to go. Oh my goodness me, the Sydney Kings look pretty sharp tonight.
Well, it's rough, you know, especially when there's so much enthusiasm and energy in the building and the fans are really hyped up. And they come full of expectations, but continuously they are being served the same type of performances. We saw a pretty insipid performance, to use Drew's word, last week against the Cairns Taipans. And then tonight, it looked like they were ready to really go on with the battle in the first quarter. But unfortunately, again, at a critical juncture in the second quarter, when Sydney cranked it up, Leonard, you saw what happened. They just did not have any answers. They don't have the depth talent-wise, and they just don't have that cohesion, that chemistry, that idea of what to do when things get really tough. What is their strategy? And obviously, with all the coaching changes this year, it makes it really tough on this playing group. Where do they go from here? I'd just be playing all the young guys and sitting the older guys down, not necessarily as a goodbye to them, but more as a welcome and as a testing time for the young guys. Yep. Well, I think it's just been a accumulation of so many things that have happened over the course of the season. I talked to Greg Vanderjack prior to the game, and we talked about some of the offensive concepts of the game. And one of the things I said was, when I coach teams, and one time I had a team only score 57 points, and I reflected after the game, and I said, what was even the point of practicing? Well, that's kind of how the Bullets have been in the past couple of weeks. It's like, what are they working on? They'd be better off just going out there and just playing basketball and enjoying it, because obviously any strategy, any game planning they're doing is not being effective. Now, also, as a group, who is the leader? Who's the one that pulls everyone together to say, you know what, guys? I don't care who we're playing tonight. We could be playing the '86 Boston Celtics, the 2016 Golden State Warriors, the '96 Bulls. We are not losing this game tonight. We're not going to be embarrassed on our home court. Copes and Drewy, I saw you guys do it all the time when the odds were stacked against you. But who is that person? Who is that clique within the Bullets organization? Player, coaches, assistants, your staff. Who can do that and assemble this team to put better performances together for this crowd? Well, thanks for mentioning that I'm in the streets, Copes, but I'm actually... I'm not sure. Well, look, it's the holiday period. It's really hot, and it's a nice venue. Like, this is a fantastic place to come and watch basketball. As I've said many times on here, the energy and the enthusiasm is fantastic. It feels like a party in here. Just imagine if this team was winning, what type of crowds they would be pulling in this place. However, people will only take so much, Leonard. And at some point, that trend will reverse and people will stay away. The ownership group apparently was here, so I'm curious to see how that changes things over the coming weeks. Now look here, Drew, guess who they've got coming in here Saturday? Melbourne United, another team you do not want to see. They're desperate, they sniff a possible play-in position, and Dean is going to be coaching them hard and ready to wax Brisbane again. Well, I'm always going to take the call and take the meeting just to hear what they have to say. But if I'm a player, there are going to be some serious conditions in that contract or in a verbal agreement that we reach. I need to know who the coach is before we sign on. I need to know that there's a commitment to the ownership group. I want to see from the executive management positions, what's the direction of this club in terms of pulling sponsors? Where are we playing? You know, for example,